because I have a TBI, which is affecting like my vision and gave me a lot of swelling and stuff, so I did not feel up to it at all. Starting to get back on my feet, but I've been going to like intense physical therapy for quite a while, a few years to try to get better from this. And I think I'm finally like, going in the right direction. But for a long time, it wasn't going in the right direction. It was like, no matter what I tried, nothing was working. I wasn't feeling any better. Still couldn't drive my car. So now it's like slightly better, and maybe I can try to start driving, but I haven't even tried it yet. But hopefully soon I'm going to give it a try. I still get vertigo, and that's been the biggest problem. Like, my vision problems from the TBI give me vertigo when I drive. And it's exhausting to have vertigo all the time, so I don't feel like making videos. I'm just like, kind of like waiting for this to go away and then get back on my feet. But it's taken much longer than I ever thought it would. So right now I'm seeing a lot of anti-Jewish things online, and to me that's really concerning. And then people are also concerned about the rise of Islam in America. Like, is America going to be just like Europe? And, Islam's going to be everywhere eventually. I'm from Michigan, and I've always been in Michigan. I've lived in different parts of Michigan. But I know even when I was a child, there was a lot of Muslims here, even when I was young. So it's grown more and more and more here. And I remember like in 2009-ish, I started doing an outreach at a park because the Bible tells us to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. And slowly but surely, I worked up the nerve to go share the gospel with people, which is not something that a wimp can do because it's something that is difficult. And it takes a lot of, balls to do it. Going out and sharing your faith with people is not for wimps. So I finally worked up the courage to share the gospel with people, and I would go to kind of the same park frequently and share the gospel with people there because there was always a lot of people there. There were things for my kids to do, and kind of killing two birds with one stone. So I started witnessing at a park, and eventually I was witnessing to this Muslim woman. And for me, when I first started sharing the gospel, it was very nerve-wracking because I'm an artist, as you can tell. I have a lot of paintings sitting around and stuff that I've worked on. I've probably made like thousands of paintings, and that's my go-to. I would love to just sit and make paintings and not even deal with people because people suck. People are hard to deal with. People give you drama. A painting, no drama there. So typically I like to just, paint, and I'm more of an introvert, but I think through the circumstances that I grew up under, I became an extrovert because I realized I had to reach out to people in order to, get the things I need because they weren't going to be given to me at home. So, but that's a whole other story for another time. So I started sharing the gospel with people at, a large local park in Kalamazoo, and ran into like my first Muslim. But I was scared to talk to them because I've heard horror stories. I remember when 9/11 happened. I joined the military after 9/11 happened, and they almost shipped me to Iraq. But luckily I got out of that because I was having panic attacks and just overwhelmed as a teenager and became pregnant. So luckily they gave me a medical discharge and I was able to not go to Iraq because I don't know if I would have made it back alive. My grandpa said, I don't think you'll live if you go there, and it's just terrifying. So I did get a medical discharge and, just never thought about going back in because I have 7 children. I actually had 10 and lost like 3 of them through miscarriage, but 7 kids is a lot. So I've been through a lot with that. That's been plenty enough. stress. So, anyways, I started witnessing to Muslims, and one of them came walking by, and I was like, oh, I really want to talk to her, but I don't even know what to say. And I don't even know if she knows English. So I prayed that she would, like, talk to me. And then out of nowhere, she just started talking to me. And I was like, wow, okay, so I should be witnessing to her then. And then I sucked it up and gave her a gospel tract and tried to talk to her, although there was a lot of language barrier and, you know, just customs are so different. So she, you know, listened to what I had to say. I don't know how much of it she understood, but we created like a friendship. Eventually she came back and talked to me again and again and again. And because I was always in the same location, people could find me, which was a good thing and a bad thing. So she came back and found me again. And one particular time she found me, she had gotten in a huge argument with her husband, and he had hit her. So she was talking to me about that, like that he hit her, and that she's really unhappy in this marriage. She was thinking of divorce, but she doesn't even know how to file paperwork or how to even go about it. And she was like 14 years old when her family basically arranged the marriage with him, and he was like 24. And he was an angry drunk. So she would frequently have to go through abuse at home. And at this point, she just reached her limit. So she came down and started talking to me about it. I tried to explain to her what I knew, which was not very much at that point, because I had gotten into a relationship as a teenager and was not really exposed to the world as much as I needed to be. So I didn't even understand how divorce worked. Like, I didn't know how to even begin to help her with that. But I told her that, you know, just pray to Jesus and ask him to save you, and then he'll start helping you. And she prayed with me, and then she started to see differences in her life. So then, you know, she wanted to know more about God and more about the Bible and stuff. So little by little, she became like a Christian, and she started going to church kind of secretly without her husband's knowledge. And then she told me she wanted me to make him into a Christian. And I'm like, well, that's, you know, going to be rough, because he was actually from Iraq, and he was, I wouldn't say he knew that much about Islam, because you'll find that a lot of Muslims don't know that much about Islam, but he was like devoted to it, like hardcore, not going to change his mind no matter what you do. So I started talking to him regularly and trying to get him to accept Christianity, but at the same time, he was trying to get me to accept Islam. And one day he came down to the park and grabbed all my tracts out of my hand, because I had stacks of tracts that I would just give out while my kids played and talked to people as, you know, a pastime or something to kind of get my mind off of the problems that we had at home. But he grabbed all the tracts and ripped them to pieces and told everyone not to believe me and that Christianity was false or whatever. So he was getting really volatile, but I could tell he was drinking alcohol. I didn't really know what to do for someone in a situation like that, though, at the time. Now I'm a lot more equipped for that. After going through my own situations with men, I'm a lot more equipped. But at the time, I wasn't that equipped for that, and I wasn't sure what to do. But he came down there drunk, like ripping my tracks up, and then it seemed like he felt bad later. And then he brought me some Iranians that were friends of his and introduced them to me. And then I shared the gospel with them, but I didn't have any tracts on me at that point. I'd run out. This was like weeks later, and I'd like ran out or something, and I didn't have any tracts or anything to give them. So I gave them my own personal Bible, which had like thousands of verses highlighted. I've been using it for 10 years. It was a keepsake for my kids, but I gave it to them and hoping that when they got to, you know, Iran, nobody would find it. So I don't know where my Bible ended up, but it's somewhere in Iran and hopefully in safe hands, and hopefully things went well for them. But I explained to them the gospel and how to be saved, and they didn't accept Jesus right there, but they did accept the Bible. So I was like, you know, I think we can make some progress from this.